Hi everyone, Happy New Year and welcome to your 2023 yearly horoscope. My name is Cailin and today I'm going to be covering all of the major transits for the year ahead using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. I will be following a chronological order. However, if you want to skip around to different transits throughout the year, you can refer to the timestamps in the description box below. Now, in terms of which reading will apply to you, you can watch for your ascendant, sun, and moon sign horoscopes. Generally speaking, most people will find that their ascendant sign, which is also known as their rising sign, will be the most accurate for them overall. Having said that, sometimes people connect more to their sun sign horoscope, especially if you as an individual are extremely goal-oriented and if your career is a huge priority for you. Now, if you connect to your moon sign horoscope, perhaps you're very in touch with your emotional world and you may be a person who is extremely relationship-oriented. In any case, I do recommend that you watch all three horoscopes because there will be something in each horoscope for you. And also, if your sun and your moon are in the same sign, this is extremely powerful in terms of this horoscope resonating for you. And the same can be said for if you have a stellium in your chart, which means 3 or 4 or more planets in one sign, which involves either your ascendant, sun, or moon sign. Now, in terms of who this reading applies for, this is a general reading. So this is not a personal reading. Please take what resonates and leave what doesn't. As most of you would know, I like to cover a very wide range of potential scenarios that can play out. And throughout each horoscope, I will be referring to the differences between the ascendant, sun, and moon sign. And also, I would strongly recommend that prior to commencing this reading, that you find out the degree of your ascendant, sun, or moon sign. The degree will fall somewhere between 0 and 29 degrees. And the reason I'm mentioning that you find this out before watching is because I do refer to them a lot during each horoscope. So you can find out your ascendant, sun, and moon sign and the degree of your ascendant, sun, and moon by using online birth chart calculators, and I would recommend astro.com, astrotheme.com, the one that I feature on my personal website, and also as an app, I would recommend Time Passages. Before I get into the reading, I just want to read out this disclaimer for you. Please bear in mind that this is a general reading and that you have free will and control over your life and your decisions. You are free to make your own choices in life, and my content and videos are not designed to influence your choices in life. I am not a psychologist or a counselor or a healthcare professional, practitioner, or doctor, nor am I responsible for any choices or decisions that you make as a result of watching this video. And lastly, I am not qualified to give you legal or financial advice. Thanks for bearing with me with this disclaimer, and now let's get into your reading. Hi Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Risings. Welcome to your 2023 yearly horoscope. Let's start off by looking at the astrological energies that will be present in the month of January. As the year commences, we are going to actually have Mars retrograde in Gemini as well as Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. So it's not going to be the whole new year, new me kind of feeling because you will be tying up loose ends from the previous year. So first, let's have a look at Mars retrograde in Gemini. Mars stationed retrograde in your 7th house in Gemini at the end of October in 2022. So it will have a 10-week period that it is wrapping up as we enter January. Mars retrograde in your 7th house can indicate that you are going through some serious transformations when it comes to your personal one-to-one connections. The 7th house rules over business partnerships, clients, your significant other, whether this is your spouse or your partner that you live with. in any case, I would see the 7th house, as far as romance is concerned, being more connected to someone that you have combined your life with rather than someone that you have been casually dating. On a different level, because Mars rules over your 5th house, which rules over dating, this could see you trying to make things exclusive or official with this other individual. So by the time you get to, let's say, mid-January, or maybe even the end of March in 2023, when Mars will finally be out of Gemini, you may actually find yourself in a relationship. Now, on a different level, with respect to business, some of you may be not seeing eye to eye with a business partner during this period of time, or perhaps you were trying to navigate a contract with a prospective business partner. So this could be someone that you simply want to collaborate with. Maybe you're starting a business with this person, or maybe you're trying to bring them on board. However it plays out for you, Mars being retrograde in your 7th house basically indicates that there will be some kind of challenge that you are experiencing with another individual. Now, you may simply be working really hard alongside either your significant other or someone that you're in business with to try and achieve a common goal. Mars retrograde in your 7th house can indicate that you're actually culling some of your clientele list, or perhaps you are trying to navigate the exit of a business partnership or arrangement. Or maybe you're trying to basically end a contract. On a different level, with the 7th house ruling over personal one-to-one connections, some of you may be, again, not seeing eye to eye, but this time around it could be with a friend of yours. On a different note though, the 7th house rules over services that we either engage in or that we offer. So if you own your own business, you may be pulling certain services out, or you could be working really hard to introduce a new service to your business. And on a different note, Mars rules over sports, and it also rules over your 5th house, which is also connected to sports. So some of you may be involved in one-to-one training. So this could be something like kickboxing, working with a personal trainer. Maybe you are playing tennis, something where it involves another person. And on a different note, you could actually be in the middle of writing a book, because Mars rules over your 5th house, which is connected to creative writing, and maybe you're interviewing other people to pull off this process. Lastly, with this transit, for those of you who are in a committed romantic relationship, your significant other could be going through some kind of transformation during this period of time, or there could be some kind of challenge that they are enduring, and perhaps you need to be more supportive of them. And, maybe your partner just wants to get fit and get healthy, or maybe they've set some pretty lofty goals that they're trying to achieve. Now, with Mercury being retrograde in Capricorn from the 29th of December in 2022 through till the 18th of January in 2023, this indicates that there will be a big focus on your finances. And that is because the 2nd house rules over finances, budgeting, how you spend money, as well as your possessions and valuables. So some of you could be refinancing or rethinking how you are spending your money. You could be trying to readjust your budgeting scheme. On a different note, pay that you would normally anticipate may be delayed. So this could be your monthly pay with work, or if you are expecting to receive money during this period of time, which again is the end of December through till the 18th of January, there may be a delay here, or there could be a fluctuation in your actual income and what you are earning. Important valuables or possessions could be returned to you, or you could just discover them while you're cleaning the house. And this could also indicate misplacing valuables and possessions. The cool thing about that is if you lose something during Mercury retrograde, you do often find it after the Mercury retrograde, and things that were lost or misplaced beforehand can be discovered during the Mercury retrograde period. On a different note, the value of a valuable or possession could change. And also the fifth house is connected to your values in general, as well as your taste. So your literal taste in clothing or your preferences with food could change at this time, or what you value in terms of your priorities may be shifting during this period of time. Now, before I look at the astrological energies of March, I want to focus on the fact that Jupiter will be in Aries. So basically, Jupiter is your ruling planet, and that means that where Jupiter is going, the aspects that it makes, the house that it's transiting, and the sign that it is in is really of the utmost importance to you as a Sagittarius. And this is more so the case if you are a Sagittarius ascendant, otherwise known as rising, because if you are a Sagittarius sun or moon, Jupiter will not be your chart ruler, so you'll want to look at the planet that rules your chart. Nevertheless, it's still really important for you as a Sagittarius. So, Jupiter first entered Aries on the 10th of May in 2022. This may be around the time that you noticed that you had more motivation, more vitality, and that you basically started feeling more optimistic, or maybe there were more opportunities for you to, let's say, socialize or go on vacations and trips. So you could have just been feeling more lighthearted around that time, or certainly by the time that June 22 came around. So from the 20th of December through till the 15th of May 2023, Jupiter will be in Aries in your fifth house. So this is an amazing transit. Essentially, Jupiter is making a trine to you as a Sag, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Trines are beneficial and harmonious aspects which essentially carry the energy of Jupiter as it is. So with Jupiter trining you, like I said earlier, you would have experienced more vitality, more energy. You would have been feeling more optimistic. You probably will be feeling happier, luckier, and more like your old self again. Now, this can indicate that you will be placing more attention on your own happiness. You could be feeling more creative around this period of time, and on a different level, the fifth house rules over vacations and trips, and Jupiter is a planet which represents luck, abundance, wealth, travel, and prosperity. So with Jupiter transiting your fifth house, this indicates that there are more opportunities for you to travel. There'll be more opportunities for you to have fun, to express yourself creatively. You'll probably be feeling more confident around this period of time. And I'm sure a lot of you will have a lot of exciting creative ideas that you want to pursue. Now, the fifth house indicates owning your own business. So on one level, if you already own your own business, this can indicate that you have more creative ideas, that you have more energy to expand. It also indicates that your business will expand naturally and bring you more good luck and prosperity and wealth and abundance. Now, if you do not own your own business, this can indicate that this is your priority. This is what you want to do. So by the time that you get to, let's say, mid-May or maybe June in 2023, you could have started your own business, or you could have a pretty good idea of what you want to do with respect to starting your own business. So you could be feeling creatively inspired. You could see a lot of success coming to you with owning your own business. Some of you may decide that you want to start writing a book, or there could be a new creative venture that you want to pursue. There could be a new way of expressing yourself creatively that you want to learn about, or that you want to dive more deeply into. And this could be anything creative, whether that's writing, drawing, painting, singing, photography, anything that you would consider to be creative. This is where you can be placing your focus and your attention. Now, the fifth house is connected to dating, romance, your love life, as well as sex. And with Jupiter being the planet that rules you, wherever Jupiter goes, this is where you're placing your focus. This is where you are basically putting a lot of energy and attention into. So some of you may be starting a new romantic relationship. You may be starting a new sexual relationship. Maybe you're just going to be having more sex as it is. And for those of you who are already romantically committed to another person, this can indicate that you're putting more attention on this relationship, that you're going on more dates, going on more trips together, feeling more loved up, feeling more romantic. And also the fifth house is connected to adventure and, like I said, going on vacations and trips. So there will be more opportunities for you to basically just have fun, let your hair down, and meet new people and go out to parties and social events. Now, on a different level, the fifth house is connected to children. So with Jupiter being your ruling planet and being in the fifth house, this can indicate that you may fall pregnant or that you will expand your family further. And on a different note, this can also indicate that your child, if you do have children, could be going through some kind of some sort of new chapter in their life, which is very healing for them. Maybe they're experiencing some kind of blessing. Maybe they're having opportunities to travel, or maybe they are experimenting and coming out of their shell more. And if you've been worried about any of your children, just know that Jupiter through your fifth house, can indicate a blessing coming to them. Now, the fifth house is connected to sport, so some of you may be interested in getting physically active or joining a sporting team, or you may discover a sport that you really enjoy. And also the fifth house is connected to creative self-expression as well as hobbies and passions. So you could become extremely passionate about something, and maybe this is a new hobby, or for some of you this could be returning to a hobby that you used to enjoy, especially if it was about 11 or 12 years ago. And that is because that's the last time Jupiter was in the sign of Aries. And now let's have a look at the astrological energies of March, because we are going to see two huge new chapters starting in this month. Now on the 7th of March, Saturn is going to enter the sign of Pisces, which means it will be transiting your fourth house. Saturn will be in Pisces from the 7th of March in 2023 until mid-February in 2026. Now there will be a brief, approximately 3-month period where Saturn will be in Aries, but that won't be until 2025. So with Saturn transiting your fourth house, the areas of your life that will be of, I suppose, primary focus for you will be your home life. So this includes your family, your property, your living circumstances, your personal life, your private life, as well as your family history. So I'm going to go into a number of different ways that this can play out for you, but just so that you are familiar with the energy of Saturn, it represents having an obligation towards something or someone. It represents the need to persist and to be determined, and also Saturn rules over repetition. So it can indicate having to do something over and over again. Also, Saturn can indicate limitations, delays, and delayed gratification. So wherever Saturn goes, we will have some sort of long-spanning challenge or steep learning curve on our hands. With respect to your family, the fourth house in astrology rules over your parents, your family life, your entire ancestry, your lineage, and the future of your family as well. And it also rules over how you parent. So with Saturn being in your fourth house, of course, there are a number of different ways that this can play out. I will run through a few, but before I get to that, I just want to note that during 2023, Saturn will only transit between 0 and 7 degrees Pisces. So this indicates that the Sagittarians who are going to really feel this transit in 2023 will be Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Risings between 0 and 7 degrees. I could extend this up to 10 degrees. If you are a Sagittarius sun, moon, or rising between 11 to 29 degrees, you're going to feel this transit more so in 2024 and 2025, again, depending on the degree. Nevertheless, please do pay attention to this segment because the way that this is going to play out for you will still start to reveal itself in 2023, but you just won't hit the crux of it until Saturn is making that, close to exact square to you. Now, just on the family front, this can see there being more responsibilities added to your plate when it comes to your family. So I could say that this would pertain to your immediate loved ones, okay? Whether this is your parents, your children, it doesn't need to be biological. This could be your adoptive parents. And of course, if you're a foster parent or an adoptive parent or a step parent, doesn't matter. This is still looking at your parental duties or your obligations and responsibilities towards these immediate loved ones. And, I would also include your spouse, your de facto long-term partner, or let's say the parent of your children as well, the family unit. So take that any which way that it resonates. On one level, there will be, for some of you, more responsibilities, more duties, more obligations. You may view this as a burden. It may be a lot for you to bear. You may be a new parent, or perhaps your children who may be older will require a lot of your help and your assistance. And, the same can be said for your parents. Maybe you are having to help them a lot with something. You could be there for them emotionally, or you could be providing for them physically. And I'm saying this because Saturn is in Pisces, and Pisces is a water sign, which represents the emotional support that you may be providing. Having said that, Saturn rules over your second house, which is connected to your finances and your resources. So you may be actually helping them out, financially speaking. Now, this will not be for all of you. I kind of want to put you guys in two camps when it comes to helping out family. Some of you may have these responsibilities and the obligations towards family members, your immediate family, and so on and so forth. But for the other half of you, if this is playing out for you on the family front, I'm going to run through a whole host of other ways that this can play out. Nevertheless, for some of you, this is about clear boundaries. This is about understanding and recognizing that your family members have taken you for advantage. Now, I'm not saying that every single family member of yours has taken advantage of you or has exploited you. This doesn't necessarily mean that it was done in a deliberate sense, in a manipulative sense, or in a way that they're even cognizant of. For some of you, your family may just not realize how much they are asking of you. And even if they're not asking it of you explicitly, maybe it's the guilt trips that they're sending you on, or the subtle emotional manipulation that they are employing. So it doesn't need to be so overt in a sense that they're calling you up saying, hey, help me with this, help me with that, or can I borrow money off of you, or whatever. It could just be that emotional pressure that they are putting onto you that you have been actually responding to. And so many of you during this period of time are going to be put into a position where you either snap, or where the pressure from them is so great that you have to learn how to say no. So Pisces is connected to boundarylessness and the collective. And let's not forget that Neptune is here in your fourth house as well. So I'm actually going to touch on that now. I was going to mention it at the end, but I think that it's relevant for this conversation. So Neptune has been in your 4th house for many years now, and it will be in your 4th house for the whole of 2023, and it will be going through the degrees 23 through to 27 degrees. So that means at least 2/3 of you have already been experiencing Neptune in your 4th house squaring you as a Sagittarius sun, moon, and rising. So the Sagittarians who will start to feel the square from Neptune the most will be Sagittarius sun, moon, and risings between 23 and 27 degrees. And I could extend this out to, let's say, 21 degrees to 29 degrees. So Neptune in the 4th house can indicate that you've been sacrificing yourself for your family over the last few years, and you may have not been very emotionally or consciously aware, I should say, of how much your family have maybe been draining you, taking advantage of you, emotionally manipulating you. And, for some of you, it doesn't mean that your family are horrible. It could just be that you've been willingly giving to them, willingly helping them. And maybe your family have said to you, no, you're doing too much. I couldn't possibly ask that of you. But you have just been going the extra mile because you have felt compelled to, for one reason or another. So Neptune in your 4th house squaring you indicates that there has been a real lack of boundaries, either on your family's part or on your part, and one of you could have been giving too much. Now, on a different level, maybe you haven't been seeing your children's needs clearly or your parents' needs clearly. So the shoe could be on the other foot, where you could have been asking a lot of either your children or your family, so your immediate loved ones, including your significant other, and now they could be going through a period of time where they're actually saying no to you, and they're the ones who are coming to you and erecting these stronger boundaries. Now, because it's Saturn, there is a potential to go too far. And that could be with you, that could be with them. So for example, you may be pushed to a point where you don't want to have any communication with them. Worst case scenario is that, it could be coming from the other side. But just know that this is about going on this steep learning curve. So I'm definitely not trying to foreshadow any kind of falling out with your family. If I had to hedge a bet on this, I would say this is more about you being the one who is being in control of these boundaries that you will be setting. But of course, it could go either way. Now, on a different level, your parents could just be entering this next chapter of their lives. So with Saturn going through your 4th house, maybe you're starting to view your parents as, being in that 3rd stage of life, being elderly. Maybe they're at a point where they would be classing themselves as elderly. They may be retiring. They may already be retired. They may be going into a retirement home or facility during this period of time. You could be the one who is organizing or orchestrating this transition from independent care into, like I said, some kind of retirement village, or maybe they're just at an age where they're going to require either round-the-clock care or just a higher level of care. Now, on a different level, the 4th house is connected to patterns when it comes to family, so family cycles, family patterns. And because Saturn is connected to repeating something and doing it over, and the 4th house is also connected to, let's say, folk customs, folk ways, festivals and family traditions, some of you may decide that you want to reintroduce certain family values into the way that you either set up your home life, your living circumstances, or this could be to do with how you want to raise your children. So maybe you are looking at how you were raised and what you can basically adopt from that and then reintroduce into how you are carrying out your parental duties. Now, on a different level, if your parents, especially if it's your mother or the primary caregiver in your family, has been, if they've been really up and down emotionally speaking, especially with Neptune going through that fourth house of yours, this can indicate that Saturn is going to come in here and help her achieve some kind of stability in her life. Now, with the fourth house being connected to your ancestry, your roots, and the history of your family, this could see you wanting to learn about your family history. And because Saturn rules over your third house, this can indicate that you want to document this family history. So the third house is connected to communications, writing, vlogging, documentation of all kinds. So this could see you wanting to put together a family tree or your family history. You may decide that you want to interview your parents or people in your family because you want to make sure that you have all of the information noted down correctly. Maybe you'll actually want to write a book about your family. That's another way that this could play out. On a different note, the fourth house rules over your family dynamic as a whole, and it is an indicator of the stability of your relationships, just generally speaking. So this isn't just about your relationship with your family. It could be your relationship with your children, with your significant other, even with friends. So the fourth house Saturn transiting your fourth house can indicate that more stability is actually going to be introduced into your family. And a positive way that this could play out with your family is that if you've had a lot of ups and downs with your parents or with your children, this can indicate a new chapter of stability coming through with respect to this, to these relationships that you have with these individuals in your family or with your loved ones. So some of you could absolutely be putting your roots down during this period of time because the fourth house rules over your roots in general. So you could be starting a family, you could be moving in with a loved one or, with your romantic partner. They could be moving in with you. You could be going through this phase of basically taking on more responsibilities as a family, as a whole. So Saturn transiting the fourth house is a huge indicator for having additional responsibilities and obligations towards your family, and this can play out as welcoming children into the family. And this doesn't necessarily need to be biological. You could be fostering children, you could be adopting children, you could become a step parent or a guardian. So obviously there are a number of different ways that this can play out. Now, the fourth house rules over our emotional security and also what makes us feel secure. That can be materially, okay? So your material security could be adding to or informing your emotional security. So this could see you really going through some kind of learning curve when it comes to what you need in your life to feel stable, what you need in your personal life, in your family, or with respect to your living circumstances to make you feel secure emotionally. So for some of you, you will feel like you're able to put your roots down and like this is a new chapter coming through where, if you've been through this period of uprooting your life or, living in a multitude of different places, moving from place to place to place, then this can see you feeling like you've really found your home, and maybe you feel like you could live here for years and years and years. And Saturn actually takes about 3 decades to do a full orbit through all 12 signs. So maybe for you, you could see yourself living, in this new place for the next 3 decades. So basically, this can see you feeling like you're able to achieve more emotional security, especially as Neptune could have had you feeling all over the place. Now, I don't want to understate the impact that Neptune may have been having on you emotionally, psychologically, and certainly with respect to your mental health. And that is because Neptune has been squaring you as a Sagittarius sun, moon, and rising. And on an emotional level, this would have been more difficult to navigate as a Sagittarius rising or moon. Not so much sun, because the sun is connected to your career, but I'll discuss that in a moment. So Neptune squaring you for the last several years can indicate that you, and by several, it's been about probably 10 years. So you could have been going through the ringer, emotionally speaking, especially if you are a Sagittarius rising or moon, like I mentioned. And so Saturn transiting your 4th house is going to allow you to basically take control of your emotions, especially if you feel like you haven't been able to regulate them, or you go through major periods of ups and downs. So I see this as Saturn coming in to help you, to make you feel more grounded. So with respect to Neptune squaring you as a Sagittarius sun, moon, or rising, a Sagittarius sun, there could have been periods of time where you were actually unable to work because you were sacrificing yourself for your family. Whether this is for parents, children, your significant other, loved ones, and if not for your family, you may have gone through periods of time where you didn't actually work because you were emotionally incapable of working. Maybe you had to take care of your needs on an emotional level, and that could have played out as mental health issues that you were having to basically prioritize. Even if it wasn't mental health, it could have just been that you didn't feel like you had the emotional capacity to work. So that could have impacted you as a Sagittarius sun, and to an extent a Sagittarius rising as well. And if you really identify with your Sagittarius moon, then of course, take this any which way that it applies. So on a different level, the 4th house is connected to property and living circumstances. And this is all kinds of property, not just the house or the apartment or the place that you live in. This includes land. This includes farmlands as well. So basically, Saturn transiting your 4th house can indicate that you are settling down with your property. You could be buying a property. You could be laying the foundations. You could be going through the process of building, of course. And for some of you, there may be some kind of obligation that you have which involves your property. So maybe you are having to actually let people move in with you, or maybe you are having to move in with family members, or perhaps this is with friends, siblings, relatives, or even a co-worker. And I'm saying this because Saturn rules over your 3rd house, which indicates all those individuals. Or maybe you're allowing a friend, sibling, a relative, or any kind of family member to live with you. And Saturn here indicates that it's a burden, or it will turn into something which is which you see as being a sacrifice that you have to make. And the reason why I'm saying either people could be moving in with you or you could be moving in with them is because if people move in with you, this is playing out as Saturn ruling over your second house of resources and to an extent finances. And so you're allowing other people to, I was going to say mooch off you, but, share in your resources. So somehow this is detracting from you, or you're, sacrificing your resources for them. I just want to take this moment to say that Jupiter's still going to be in Aries until the middle of May. And, there are other exciting transits afoot where, you are still going to be able to maintain your independence. I'm not saying that that is threatened. It's just that, wherever Saturn goes, this is where we, are basically going to feel like we're stretched thin, but we will learn a lot. So many of you will learn so much about property, about managing property, building. You may be learning about farmlands, gardening. These are all fourth house matters. You could be learning a lot about the country that you live in. You could be learning a lot about your family history. You could be learning about parenting. You could be learning about new skills when it comes to parenting. You don't just have to be new parents. Some of you may find that, your children are a bit older, and like I said, you're either learning to say no to them, or maybe you're having to take it to the next level when it comes to being a bit more strict, or, being more of a disciplinarian. And I'm definitely not talking about, being physical with them. It's just that Saturn is about discipline, and it's about structure and routine. So maybe you are having to implement or employ some kind of structure or routine when it comes to your personal family life. And you know what? Maybe the same can be said for your parents. Maybe you're having to say to them, hey, I'll help you, but only, during business hours. Or I'm not going to take your calls on weekends. Or we need to have more structure and clearer boundaries in terms of how we communicate and what we're asking of one another. So on a different level, wherever Saturn goes, this can indicate that we're pursuing a career in that area. Actually, before I get to that, I just want to say, with Saturn ruling over your third house, which is connected to contracts, and with it being in your fourth house, which is connected to property, like I said, you could be buying property, laying the foundations, building. You could be applying to relocate to a foreign country. And I'm saying this because Pisces rules over foreign countries in faraway places. So maybe there is like a visa that you need, or permanent residency, or it could be something to do with citizenship. And, some of you may need permits to build as well. So on the career front, and this will be more for Sagittarius risings and suns, but like I said, if you really resonate with your Sagittarius moon, you can still apply it. You could be seeking a career or trying to transition or elevate your existing career in one or more of the following areas: property, construction, something to do with vehicles, something to do with protecting your home country, so the military, the navy, border protection, just in general border protection, anything that you do in service of your country, your home country, where you were born. Okay, doesn't matter if you immigrated to another country when you were 3 years old. I'm talking about the country that you were born in, that's, on your birth certificate. Some of you may want to learn about working on the land, gardening, recreational parks. Maybe you want a career as a park ranger. Maybe you are looking at folk customs, working in festivals. Some of you could be looking at becoming guardians of the land in some way, or working with the indigenous people of certain lands as well. So you could be doing something to help them. And on a different note, the fourth house is connected to minerals, gems, and anything underground. So you could be looking at a career in one of those areas. And also you could be looking at a career in working with the elderly, retirement homes, childcare, family planning, Also, doesn't need to necessarily be a career. You could be learning or educating or writing about these topics or creating some kind of content about these topics. And I'm saying this because Saturn rules over the third house. So this indicates, writing about it, learning about it, teaching and training other people about these matters. Saturn rules over your second house, which is finances and resources, and it's transiting Pisces, which is connected to donations and charity. So maybe you are donating to one or more of these industries or movements. On a different note, you could be involving yourself in caregiving services. So actually, I already said that, when it comes to like retirement homes and childcare, etc. But maybe you're looking at becoming a nurse or writing about, let's say, your time as a nurse or something to do with nurses and, caring, maybe caring, I guess I could say caring for people who are vulnerable and who need a high level of care. So just to recap, Saturn will be in Pisces from the 7th of March until the 13th of February in 2026, bar a 3-month period where it will be in Aries in 2025. This stuff will play out over the course of this period. It's not like all this stuff's going to come up for you in 2023. If you want to look for a time period on it, find out the degree of your sun, moon, or rising in Sagittarius and look to when Saturn will be about 3 degrees before or 3 degrees after, and certainly on the degree. These are the kinds of things that you will be experiencing in one way or another over the course of this period. And now let's have a look at what's going to happen when Pluto enters the sign of Aquarius. Now, on the 23rd of March, Pluto is going to change signs for the first time since 2008. So since that point in time, Pluto has been in Capricorn in your second house. So come March 23rd, Pluto is going to enter the sign of Aquarius. So it will be transiting your third house. Now, in 2023, it's actually going to be there for less than 3 months. So it'll be in Aquarius at 0 degrees from the 23rd of March through till the 11th of June. So that means that the Sagittarians who are going to feel it the most strongly in 2023 will only be 0 and 1 degree Sagittarians. Nevertheless, I want you guys to bear in mind that this is a 20-year transit. This is a slow-moving transit. This will indicate that you are going through this transformative process and cycle that will take nearly 2 decades to complete. So basically, wherever Pluto goes, wherever it transits, which is, for such a long period of time, this is where things are going to start shifting at a deep and psychological level. And this indicates that we are going to come out the other side having completely transformed this area of our lives. Now, the third house in astrology is basically connected to our mindset. It's how we think. It is also connected to communications of all kinds. In terms of Pluto and what it represents in astrology, it's all about power. Now, Pluto indicates the ways in which we can experience our power being taken away. It indicates how we can basically impose on other people by taking their power away. And the best case scenario is a reclamation of that power. And we're going to be able to transcend and transform this period of our lives. So basically, Pluto is an extremely obsessive planet, so it can indicate becoming deeply obsessive or fixated or passionate about the house that it's transiting. So for you, the third house is all about learning. It's about education. It is connected to our skills, not necessarily talents, but our ability to enhance our natural talents by learning the skills to back it up. So what I mean by that is In astrology, the fifth house and the sun are connected to our natural talents and our natural creative intelligence, but the third house is what you're able to do with that. And so if we take an example of someone who has a natural aptitude for drawing, the actual learning how to draw, the technical skill, the practice of that, and our ability to take that really far is the third house. So incidentally, the third house rules over these skills and dexterity as it is. Nevertheless, Pluto transiting your third house indicates this powerful new chapter that is starting with respect to your mindset. So this is going to afford you the opportunity to completely transform how you think. And because Pluto rules over the 12th house in your chart, which is connected to the unseen realms, the divine angels, divine beings, divination, our connection to the other side, this can actually indicate that you are going to be taking your interest in those areas and introducing them into your daily life. So you'll be thinking about it really deeply. You'll want to read about it, maybe write about it. You'll be consuming lots and lots of content about these particular things. So the 12th house is also connected to foreign, faraway places. It is connected to yoga, meditation, photography, art. It is connected to, it's one of the creative houses. So Pluto rules over your 12th house, which is a creative house, and now it's in the third house. So to me, this indicates wanting to do something with those creative impulses. Now, on a different level, the third house is connected to siblings, relatives, such as, cousins, aunties, uncles, nieces, nephews, etc. The third house is connected to your friends and also groups of friends, small groups of people, co-workers and clients. So Pluto transiting your third house indicates that you may actually want to totally move on from some of these connections and relationships, or forgive, heal, regenerate, reunite, and take things to the next level. So let's just say, for example, that you have a you have a poor relationship with your siblings or with certain family members, or even close friends of yours. You may decide that you either want to cut off these relations altogether, or you may want to finally bury the hatchet and move on from difficulties within that relationship. So Pluto will actually afford you the opportunity to completely heal and move on. And let's just say that you're not necessarily restoring that relationship. Maybe you felt really wronged by some of these individuals, so friends, siblings, relatives, even co-workers or even clients, and you felt very traumatized by that connection. Or maybe you allowed some of these individuals to have power over you. Pluto transiting your third house will allow you to reclaim that power, or it will allow you to move on from, how much emotional damage that connection did to you, or it will allow you to wipe the slate clean and reconnect in a way where it's like a totally new chapter or a new phase within the context of that relationship. On a different level, Pluto is connected to secrets and hidden information, and it also rules over your 12th house, which also rules over hidden information. So Pluto transiting your third house can indicate that you may discover a pretty big secret about your about friends of yours, about siblings, about relatives, co-workers or clients. It doesn't need to be all the above. Maybe it'll just be one of those individuals or a handful of them. Nevertheless, it doesn't need to be like a bad secret. Maybe they're coming to you and sharing something with you that you never knew, something that's very personal to them. So it could be that you're actually bonding really deeply with one of these people. And even if you didn't necessarily have a difficult relationship with them, if you were never close with one of these people, especially if it's family and especially if you're a Sagittarius moon or rising, this can indicate that you're becoming a lot closer with this person. Now, the third house, like I said, is connected to communications of all kinds. So this rules over writing, this rules over, let's say, bloggers, vloggers, YouTubers, anyone who creates content. So with Pluto being in your third house, you may be inclined to write or create content about Plutonian topics. So this could be, for example, mystery novels. This could be about conspiracy theories. Conspiracies doesn't need to be a theory. It could be like well-known conspiracies that you want to write about, or maybe you just want to investigate. You don't need to be like a published writer in order to start your own YouTube channel or to, make notes about these topics that you're interested in. Now, you could be wanting to read, write, or learn about psychology, astrology, crime, the occult, sex, anything to do with death or anything that is connected to morbid topics or the topic of mortality itself. You could be journaling or learning a lot about yourself when it comes to, self-analysis, essentially. On a different level, this could see you becoming quite obsessed with these topics. So I would just guard against, going down a rabbit hole and not coming out for 20 years. On a different level, if you have experienced, seeing the glass half empty, and if you have had a very pessimistic outlook on life or just mentality in general, or even if you've really struggled to communicate, Pluto transiting your third house indicates that you could totally turn that around. You could totally flip your mindset, and maybe you'll be having some kind of spiritual awakening which transcends what you've been dreaming about or what you've been contemplating on a more subconscious level. And maybe this is going to enter into what you are considering and thinking about in your waking hours. Now, the third house is connected to, like I said, skills, education courses, and learning. So you may want to learn about these Plutonian topics. Maybe you're wanting to learn about astrology. Maybe you're wanting to train in that department. Maybe you want to teach astrology or learn about tarot or teach tarot or write about these topics. You could be taking courses in psychology. You could be learning about anything to do with, like I said, psychology, death, sex, etc. And on a different level, the third house is connected to sales, marketing, public relations, advertising, commerce, etc. So if you are employed in one of those areas, you may find that your career transforms to a whole new level. So you could achieve huge success in one of those areas. And also, the third house is connected to technology, vehicles. It's connected to, let's say, designing apps, websites, anything to do with technology. So with Pluto being in Aquarius and Aquarius being an extremely scientific and futuristic sign, you could have these new innovations, or you could design something or engineer something on a technological level. So maybe this is to do with technological devices, a new app, a new system in terms of, a website, or develop a new social media system, or this could be to do with vehicles or transportation, and this could completely elevate your career. So this can basically be a game changer for you, and maybe you're actually having an idea which is a game changer for society. So you could be working on something behind the scenes, or you could have been working on something behind the scenes, and now it's actually ready for you to, let's say, launch online, or it's ready for sale. It's maybe you're doing pre-orders and you're building the prototype, but in some way, shape or form, if you are working on developing something which is along those lines, Pluto in Aquarius could be the time in which you launch it and where it's ready to go. So lastly, let's just have a look at how Pluto in Capricorn has been impacting you. Because like I said at the beginning, Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008, and it will be in Capricorn in your second house for about 9 months of 2023. And even in 2024, Pluto will be dipping in and out of Capricorn. So since 2008, you guys have gone through this huge learning curve when it comes to finances, money, valuables, and possessions. So the second house is connected to what you value. Many Sagittarians will have had to learn a lot about money, about their resources, how to manage their money. There may have been a huge transformation and big ups and downs when it comes to money that you've earned, money that you've lost. And when I say lost, whether that's gambling it, spending it, maybe you've had to give money to other people, you could have gotten yourself into some hot water with certain taxes or debt. It doesn't even need to be hot water. It could just be like huge student loans. And with Pluto entering Aquarius, once it's well and truly in Aquarius and it's left Capricorn for good, which I think will be about 2025, you will have put this chapter behind you. So obviously those were downs or negative manifestations of how that could have played out. But on a positive side, this indicates that you may have totally turned your life around. Maybe you have made a lot of money in your career, or maybe during this period of time you've gone from being broke to actually having money, or vice versa. The opposite could be true, and maybe you've gone from one to the other and then back again. You could have come into large amounts of money during this time. I do know someone who received a very, very large inheritance who's a Sagittarius moon during this transit, and it was actually property that they inherited, and the moon rules over property. So if you are a Sagittarius moon, this can indicate that the ways in which you experienced big fluctuations in your finances could be with respect to property or with respect to family, either them helping you or you helping them. Nevertheless, this indicates that you're wrapping up this chapter. You're putting to bed the lessons that you've learned with finances, with money, and by the time we wrap up, let's say 2024, you will be in such a dramatically different financial position than where you were from 2008. And I know that's a pretty big gap, and a lot of people will have had their financial situation changing anyway. But basically, Pluto entering Aquarius indicates you taking the lessons that you learned with Pluto being in Capricorn, and now you're able to apply them. You're able to maybe use the money that you have earned through investments or just through saving your money, and now you can start investing in maybe setting up your own business, investing in your education, investing in developing new technology which is going to benefit yourself new inventions or benefit, people in the future somehow. And so now let's have a look at the astrological energies of April and May, because there will be a lot going on in these 2 months in 2023. Now in April and May, there is a lot going on. We're going to have 2 eclipses. We're going to have a Mercury retrograde cycle, and Jupiter is actually going to change signs. So first things first, on the 20th of April, there will be a new moon eclipse at 29 degrees in Aries in your 5th house, and we're also going to have Jupiter being very close to this eclipse at 23 degrees. So this indicates that this new moon eclipse will impact you, and because it's in your 5th house, I see this as you having some kind of exciting new creative idea. You may discover a new hobby or a new passion. You may have a new idea for business. You may want to start a new business or take your existing business in a new direction. You could fall pregnant, and this would especially be the case if you are a Sagittarius rising or moon. On a different level, this can indicate a new romance coming through. So on one level, you may enter into a new romantic relationship, but on a different level, you may just meet this person. So even if you're not, hooking up straight away, or you don't go on a date in the eclipse period, you may meet them, and then that could follow later down the track. So pay attention to who you're meeting around the 20th of April, plus or minus 4 weeks. And if you have children, there could be a powerful new chapter starting in the lives of one of your children. Now, on the 21st of April, which, yes, is the very next day, Mercury is going to station retrograde in the sign of Taurus in your 6th house, and it will be retrograde from the 21st of April through till the 14th of May between 15 and 5 degrees. So 15 traveling backwards to 5 degrees Taurus. And with Mercury retrogrades, first and foremost, we have them 3 times a year, so they're not necessarily a big deal, but I do think it's very well worth noting when they occur in the year so that you can plan accordingly. Mercury retrogrades in the 6th house and the 3rd house are stronger than when they are in the other houses, and that is because they are naturally aligned to the 3rd and 6th house. Having said that, Mercury retrogrades in Gemini and Virgo are super duper strong. So this one is in Taurus, but it's in the 6th house, which is Virgo energy, meaning that there will be miscommunications in the workplace with you and people that you employ, or maybe you and your boss. You may have to redo projects, you may have to tweak them and make changes. There could be changes to the deadlines with certain projects, certainly delays in meetings, meetings being forgotten about entirely, postponed, cancelled, miscommunications about when they're meant to be held. This can see an old work opportunity coming back to you. So, just be mindful that you may be reconsidering going back to an old job or going back to work with someone that you used to work with. You could have ideations about quitting your job during this period of time. With that, unless this is something that you've delayed for ages and ages and ages, I would just wait till after the Mercury retrograde period to see if you still see the same, which would be, the 14th of May, but I would honestly give it until the beginning of June. Now, the 6th house is connected to your health, so Mercury retrogrades in the 6th house are good for actually discovering the root cause of an issue or of an ailment. So you could actually get to the bottom of something. I'm not a healthcare practitioner, just a full disclaimer there. So please consult your trusted healthcare practitioners if you have any concerns. On a different level, this is a good time for you to just go for routine checkups to someone that you've seen before. And I'm saying this because Mercury retrograde has that repetition. You know, we're going to someone that we're familiar with. Again, disclaimer, see whoever you need to see. And also, if you do have healthcare appointments, just double check that you have the referrals and the paperwork and the documentation that you need. You may lose a prescription during this time, so you may need one to be reissued. And just make sure, of course, that, you know, any identification numbers and even just your name is printed correctly if you're seeing doctors and having referrals. Now, the 6th house is good for changing habits. So, you know, breaking old habits that have been very difficult for you to break. And I would just be careful about not reintroducing old bad habits. On a different level, the 6th house is connected to court cases and legal proceedings. This won't be something that you are unaware of. You know, because it's a Mercury retrograde, if you are going to have a court case, this would be something that was appealed or that you appealed. And even if you have one that is just scheduled during the Mercury retrograde period, it may be delayed or postponed. The dates could change for the court case. And please, please, please make sure you're making duplicates and triplicates of paperwork and documentation. And if you're relying on one USB, it's not enough. You need 2, 3 or more. You just need multiple, you just need to have it backed up, because Mercury retrogrades are when paperwork goes missing, where things are misprinted, or we've, got the wrong document, or we've taken the wrong briefcase. So just, triple, quadruple check, do whatever you need to do to adequately prepare for your court case. If you're not the one who needs to make any preparations, ride your lawyers, guys. Make sure that everything is absolutely airtight. I don't want any of you guys to be underprepared, thanks to a Mercury retrogradism. But I don't want you guys to freak out. Like I said, Mercury retrogrades happen 3 times a year. And P.S., if you're the one that is appealing a court case decision, you have a very, very good chance of it being successfully appealed or overturned. So now let's have a look at this full moon eclipse in Scorpio. So this is going to take place on the 5th of May in your 12th house at 14 degrees. Because this is occurring in your 12th house, this has more of like a subconscious and psychological impact. So this can actually indicate that you are overcoming a fear, overcoming some kind of addiction. This could see you actually understanding the ways in which you may have been self-sabotaging in certain situations. You may discover some kind of secret or hidden information, and you may feel like you're seeing the truth clearly, because Scorpio is an extremely secretive sign, and this eclipse is taking place in one of the most hidden and secretive houses in astrology. So this can indicate you actually having a spiritual awakening. You may have an extremely profound or prophetic dream. You may feel like a loved one on the other side is trying to reach out to you and communicate with you, in which case it would be like, okay, message received, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Now, the 12th house is connected to periods of isolation. So this could be due to being in hospital or being in prison, or because you've been, even in exile. The 12th house is connected to being exiled. So this full moon eclipse actually indicates the ending of a chapter or something coming full circle. So if that's you, and even if it's not as dramatic as being in hospital or prison or in exile, it could just be that you haven't really had access to family, to friends. Maybe you've been cooped up in your home. Maybe you've just gone through a period of being unwell, and this full moon eclipse indicates the end of that. That chapter's coming to a close. So this is a time of spiritual liberation. And also, like I said earlier, the 12th house is a very creative house. So you could actually be concluding some kind of creative project. So this could be to do with photography, acting, filmography, music, writing, creative writing, poetry, and so on and so forth. Now, on a different level, because the 12th house is connected to fears, this can see you having an epiphany about what a certain fear is rooted in, and you may actually have the opportunity to overcome this fear. And this is thanks to you, actually understanding it at a deep and psychological level. Now, lastly, the 12th house is connected to our intuition, and so is the sign of Scorpio. So your intuitive and psychic abilities can be seen from the 12th house as well as the 8th house, and essentially this can indicate that you are having some kind of psychic experience. So maybe this is through a premonition, maybe you're having a clairvoyant vision, maybe you're simply seeing an astrologer or a tarot reader, or maybe like a psychic or a medium, and you could have an extremely profound reading with this person who is able to unlock something for you. So this could actually completely shift how you even perceive the invisible realm. Maybe astrology is as far as you like to take things. Maybe this horoscope's even a stretch for you, but then come this full moon eclipse on the 5th of May, plus or minus 4 weeks, you could have your eyes completely opened, and I mean your third eye actually, because this is the hidden realm, this is the unseen, this represents what is intangible and unknowable in a physical way. So you could have some kind of profound experience that completely shifts the whole, your whole spiritual or psychic paradigm when it comes to what you do and don't believe is possible. Now, let's have a look at Jupiter transiting Taurus in your 6th house. On the 16th of May, Jupiter is going to leave Aries in your 5th house for another 12 years, and it's going to enter Taurus in your 6th house. So it will be there from the 16th of May through till the 24th of May in 2024. So this is a 12-month period. Once again, Jupiter is the planet that rules you. So wherever it's going, whatever it's doing, this is extremely important for you personally as a Sagittarius. Jupiter transiting your 6th house indicates that the matters that the 6th house rules over will become extremely important to you in terms of you will gain knowledge and wisdom in these areas. Certainly, Jupiter will expand whatever it touches, but it will also bestow a divine blessing. And let's start with health actually, because the 6th house rules over your health, and Jupiter indicates what you are doing. And Jupiter transiting your 6th house indicates that there can be a focus on your health and in turn a blessing on your health. So many of you Sagittarians will notice an improvement in your health, especially if you're a Sagittarius rising and sun, and I would say emotional health. If you are a Sagittarius moon, having said that, if you are a Sagittarius moon who has issues with, say, your stomach or your breasts or the chest region, then, this can indicate that you are being healed or going through some kind of healing treatment. Oh, and the same can be said for if you're a Sagittarius moon. This can also be an improvement in your health with respect to your reproductive system. I digress. So Jupiter in your 6th house for 12 months indicates that you can get a handle on your health. You can overcome a health challenge or ailment or issue. You can be put in touch with doctors and healers of all kinds who are really able to help you and work with you and basically lead you to either recovering from whatever it is that you're going through, or managing it better, or having more of an understanding of it, or you could simply just want to learn more about what you need to do to be healthy, whether this is nutrition, diet, exercise. So this is basically like you going on a bit of a learning journey over the course of the next 12 months. And again, I just want to say that with Jupiter, it's not like, okay, 16th of May 2023, oh, that, crick in my neck is gone. Jupiter will take up to 12 months to bestow its blessing. So you may actually get to, say, the end of May 2024, or maybe in June 2024, when you look back and you realize how far you've come. That's not to say that, you can't heal or overcome these health issues before, but, I'm looking at the longer forecast because, I'm an earth sign. I'm a double earth sign. So, sky is the limit for you guys, though. Stay optimistic. This is a profound time for you to increase your health and learn more about what you need to do to stay healthy. So on a different level, the sixth house is connected to work. So if you are unemployed but you want to work, this can indicate that you will be gainfully employed during this time, so you can land a job, I should say. If you are already employed, your workload is going to increase because Jupiter will expand the matters of the house that it is transiting. So it'll expand whatever it touches, and this is work. So it's like, hey, Jupiter in the sixth house equates to more work. Your plate could be loaded right up. You could start a new job on a different level. You could actually be leaving your job because Jupiter rules over freedom. So if you're unhappy at your job, or even just in the department that you're in or the work that you're doing, this indicates liberation from that or freedom from that. So you could be starting a new job, having more work responsibilities, or walking away from a job, or on a different level, if you own your own business, this can indicate that you will be hiring new people and expanding. Even if you're not necessarily hiring new people in your office, maybe you've got a franchise. Maybe you're going to franchise your business. Maybe you're going to open, a chain of restaurants or whatever it is. Now, you could be learning on the job, so there could be like real life experience that you are needing to do. So this could indicate placement work or, rotations, for example, if you're a physiotherapist. And also this could indicate that your work environment is going to change or be impacted by Jupiterian things. So Jupiter rules over spirituality, religion, politics, laws, and also international relations or international affairs. So a few ways that this could play out is that your work environment could provide the means for religious places of worship. That's one example. Or maybe spiritual. Maybe there'll be meditation rooms in your workplace. I wish I had that when I was working in an office, but now I work for myself, so I do that at home anyway. Nevertheless, things could get political in your workplace because Jupiter is connected to politics and the law. So just watch out for workplace politics being a thing for you from, let's say, May 2023 to May 2024. There could be a new international office or department that opens up as part of your workplace. And also, some of you could very well be traveling for work internationally. You could be relocating to this international office or department. It could be that you, in your role, will now have to deal with people who, live on the other side of the world. So maybe your job is going to entail dealing with people who are not from the country that you're from or that you are currently living in. And some of you may need to further your education in order to, remain employed in your current workplace. That doesn't need to be a scary thing. It could just be like, hey, everyone needs to upskill and you're going to have to take this course if you want to keep your job. Or maybe this is a personal development thing where they're like, hey, good news, we're paying for you to learn XYZ. So that's another way that could play out. So another thing is that the 6th house is connected to anything that you would consider to be work. So let's just say that you're retired, or you're simply not working and that stuff doesn't pertain to you. Just know that the 6th house is all kinds of work, and work is anything that you wouldn't necessarily choose to do unless you were getting paid to do it. Work would be sorting out your taxes or organizing your affairs. The 6th house is cleaning. So with Jupiter going through your 6th house, to me, this indicates an increase in your daily responsibilities and duties. Maybe you need to clean out your whole home. Maybe you are getting rid of certain things and decluttering. Maybe you need to go back over lots and lots of documents. And maybe there are lots of menial tasks that you need to carry out, or lots of errands, or lots of meetings to attend to, and it's kind of like admin stuff. So just organizing your affairs, organizing your life, dealing with accountants, taxes, loans, bills. You could receive a loan. You could be approved for a very large loan because Jupiter rules over big things. And this could be for property as well because Jupiter rules over your 4th house. Ultimately, the 6th house is also connected to routines and habits. So Jupiter in your 6th house could indicate that you have some huge goals that you want to achieve when it comes to your habits, because Jupiter rules over your goals and your dreams. So Jupiter in your 6th house indicates that you may have this health target that you want to reach, or it could be to do with, a workout regime that you really want to employ. And so just continuing looking at the energy of your 6th house, Uranus will be in your 6th house from for the whole of 2023, and it will be traveling between 14 degrees and 21 degrees, and it's been there since 2018. So this indicates that there's been lots of ups and downs for you when it comes to work, when it comes to your health, when it comes to trying to form new habits or trying to kick old habits. So Jupiter transiting your 6th house is going to help Uranus. It's going to help you to achieve what you want to achieve with work. It's going to help you achieve what you want to achieve with health, or at least improve your situation. And if you've had lots of odd jobs where you're a contract worker or a freelance worker, or your work has kind of been all over the place, or there's been ups and downs. Just as a random example, let's say you're an Uber driver. Uranus in the 6th house can indicate that some days you're really, really busy, or some periods of time you're really, really busy. In other periods of time you're not. Jupiter in your 6th house can provide you with, it's not about more consistent work, it's just like a lot more work. It may even just continue to increase more and more and more and more. Now, let's have a look at the energy of the North Node and the South Node for you guys. The North Node has been in Taurus in your 6th house since January 2022. Meanwhile, the South Node has been in Scorpio in your 12th house also since January 2022. And they will remain in these houses until the middle of July in 2023, at which point they are going to shift signs. So since January 2022, you may have noticed, or you may have experienced, I should say, some of the following. And I'm basing this on the fact that the North Node will bring something new to the house that it is transiting. So you may have gotten a new job. You may have started a new work project. You may have hired people to work for you. You may have totally transitioned in terms of what you do for work. Maybe you're doing something which is very out there, very edgy. It could be a little bit controversial, or it could be that you're working with some advanced technologies, or perhaps some of you may have changed departments, changed industries, and there could have been some pretty new developments in your work environment that you need to adjust to. Again, these could have been quite controversial, and for some of you, this could have been something that you didn't want to adjust to. These could have been some new measures that were really out of left field that you had to basically deal with in one way or another. The North Node going through your 6th house since January 2022 and being there till mid-July 2023 strongly indicates that if you're a Sagittarius rising or sun, that you will change jobs during that period of time, or the nature of your job will change. Now, on a different level, the 6th house is connected to your health, like I said. So during this period of time, there may have been new diets that you tried. Again, these could have been quite out there or quite extreme, or you could have been very ambitious about adhering to a diet or maintaining certain standards when it comes to your nutrition. Same can be said for an ambitious new workout regime or trying new ways in which to exercise and stay healthy. You could have been dealing with new ways of healing yourself, whether this is alternative forms of healing, medicine, seeing different kinds of doctors. Maybe you were trying things that were, more to do with, say, energetic healing. So something, again, a little more, I won't say controversial, but less conventional, less mainstream. Now, the South Node being in Scorpio in your 12th house between January 2022 and mid-July 2023 indicates to me that you could have overcome a certain fear. You could have become way more spiritual, way more intuitive, and certainly you could have discovered some new intuitive and psychic abilities. And some of you could have just been letting go of things that have drained you emotionally. So now let's have a look at what's going to happen when the North Node and the South Node shift into Aries and Libra. On the 17th of July, the North Node is going to enter the sign of Aries, which means it's going to be transiting your 5th house. And at the same time, the South Node is going to be entering the sign of Libra, which means it will be transiting your 11th house. So essentially, the North Node will bring something new to the house that it is transiting, and we will become very interested and passionate and fascinated with that house. So the South Node on the other side of the coin can dissolve things, or it can bring things back from the past, but we can become a little more apathetic about the matters of that house. So the North Node being in your 5th house indicates a strong potential for meeting a new romantic partner if you are single and looking or open to it, I suppose. And your interest or your taste in terms of, romantic love interests could be changing. So you could be interested in people who are not your usual type, if I can put it that way. And the same can be said for your sexual preferences as well. And, this could just be like the kinds of sex that you enjoy. It could morph into something that is more experimental. This could be quite shocking for your partner as well, especially if you've been with them for a long time and you're just, turning around one day and saying, hey, let's try this. And they're like, what? Anyway, on a different level, the 5th house is all about creativity, passion, joy, happiness, fun and frivolity. So the North Node transiting your 5th house means you want more of that. You want more fun, more excitement, more adventure. You want to go on, vacations and trips, and you will be able to do it. You'll be seeking it out. You may even seek out a little too much of this stuff. Now, the fifth house is connected to anything creative. So the North Node can indicate that you are discovering new creative talents and abilities on a different level. You could be taking your existing creative talents and gifts to the next level, or maybe in a new direction. And if, by the way, you're a performer of some kind, whether you're a musician, a singer, an actor, an athlete, or if you are an artist or even a writer, this can indicate a pretty big departure from what you normally write about or create, or the kinds of roles and let's say the kinds of roles that you would normally land if you are an actor. And even if you're a singer or a musician, what you're producing will change. It will be more progressive, more edgy. And if you've been creatively blocked, don't worry about it. Once you have the North Node in your fifth house, you will just have so much creative energy that you'll be like, oh my God, I can't even write down fast enough. The ideas are just flowing to me. So if you have children, one of your children could be quite out there. So they could be trying something new, trying something different. It could be a little controversial or quite progressive. They could just be very, very ambitious during this period of time, or they could be going on some kind of adventure. You may feel as though their character is changing a lot. So they could be coming out of their shell, or you could just be like, wow, who is this new version of you, and what did you do with the old whoever? So on a different note, the North Node in your fifth house can indicate that if you are already in a relationship, that you may be tempted. Okay, so you may just have opportunities to meet new people, and you may feel like you've got a crush on someone and that you're questioning whether you want to be in a relationship. So you may have the desire to, flirt with other people and maybe even take it a step further. So I do just want to make you aware of that. And let's have a look at the energy of the South Node in your 11th house. So with the South Node being in your 11th house, this is connected to your friends, communities that you're part of, friendship groups, your wider network, your long-term goals and dreams for the future. So essentially, because the South Node has this quality of dissolving things and maybe even like making us apathetic, I could say, you may feel like you're not into the same people that you were into. Maybe you want to walk away from a certain friendship group or a community that you were part of. Like I said a bit earlier, the South Node can bring something from the past back into our lives. So another way that could play out is that you could be reconnecting with old friends, or you could go back to join a community that you were part of once upon a time. The 11th house is connected to your long-term goals and dreams. So you may feel apathetic about certain goals and dreams that you had for the future, or, an old goal or dream of yours could be resurfacing, and you could, feel like you want to investigate that again. On the whole, though, the South Node does have more of the dissolving quality. So it's more like, I don't know if I want to be, friends with these people anymore, or maybe it doesn't even need to be a conscious thing. Let's just say that you used to catch up with your friends, once every few weeks, and over the course of this 18-month period, instead of every couple of weeks, it might be once a month, and then gradually it's once every couple of months, and then before you know it, you get to January 2025 and you're like, oh my God, I've only seen these friends once or twice. So that's another way that could play out. So now let's have a look at the retrograde periods for the rest of the year. On the 22nd of July, which is just 5 days after the nodes shift signs, Venus is going to station retrograde in Leo, at 28 degrees in your 9th house, and it will be retrograde until the 2nd or 3rd of September, depending where you live in the world. So the retrograde degrees will be 28 degrees, going back to 12 degrees. So the Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Risings who will be affected the most will be those between 12 and 28 degrees. The 9th house is connected to travel, adventure, education, your beliefs, whether these are spiritual, political, religious, or philosophical. Also, the 9th house is connected to your personal morals and code of ethics. And whenever a planet is retrograde, it's about a reevaluation of these things. So Venus retrograde in your 9th house indicates that things can be shifting on the travel front. So if you planned a trip during this period of time, the dates may be subject to change. The itinerary may be subject to change. The flights themselves may be cancelled or delayed, or something of that nature. On a different level, if there was a trip that you were meant to go on that you had to postpone, you may take it during this period of time. And on a different level, with the 9th house being connected to education, you may be re-evaluating what you want to study, what classes you want to take, which tutors you want to mentor you or to tutor you, which students you may want to tutor or to teach. And if you are a teacher, this could indicate a shift in what you would like to teach in general. And for some of you, because Venus is a planet which is connected to the 5 senses, I'd see this as being more so something to do with art, music, culture, or something creative in nature, or something to do with fashion or design. So if you are studying or teaching, in those topics, then this would more so apply to you guys. Now, on a different level, if you were studying one of those topics, you may return to study. And if you had a romantic partner, even if this was a brief romance or a fling, because Venus is a planet of love and romance, and it's in the 9th house, which is connected to foreign countries, you may actually hear from this person, reconnect with them, or you may even be traveling to meet them. Now, as I said earlier, the 9th house is connected to your beliefs, and with Venus, it's all about how you nurture yourself. Self-care, if you will. So this can indicate your values shifting when it comes to, or your beliefs shifting, I should say, when it comes to how much you want to invest in yourself, how much you want to, look after yourself. You may be reevaluating your spiritual, religious, philosophical, or political values. That's another way that this could be playing out. And also, the 9th house is connected to the vision that you see for yourself, for your future. And Venus rules over your 11th house, which is also connected to your long-term goals and dreams. So with Venus being the planet of love and relationships, and also ruling over your 11th house, which is, it is a relationship house, this could see you basically reevaluating what you want in a romantic partner, in a relationship, in your marriage. The 9th house is connected to marriage, so you may be reevaluating things here. And for some of you, because Venus rules over your 6th house, which is connected to work, you may have an epiphany where it's like, I'm not going to meet someone if I keep working these hours. Or if I want to meet someone, I want to be working in an industry where I'm able to socialize and I'm able to network. So that is another way that could play out. And lastly, you may just be reconnecting with a friend who lives overseas or who is from a foreign country. Now, on the 23rd of August, Mercury is going to station retrograde in Virgo at 21 degrees, and it will be retrograde until the 15th of September. So Mercury will retrograde from 21 degrees back through to 8 degrees, and this will be in your 10th house. Because Mercury in Virgo will square you as a Sagittarius sun, moon, or rising, you will feel this more strongly than other Mercury retrogrades. And like I said earlier, when Mercury is retrograde in Virgo, you feel it. So the Sagittarians who will feel this the most would be those between 8 and 21 degrees, sun, moon, and rising. Mercury retrograde in the 10th house indicates to me that you guys are going to be rethinking your career. You'll be reconsidering where you want to work, who you work with, who your boss is. You know, do you want to work for yourself or not? Do you want to walk away from your job or not? Do you want to retire potentially? Do you want to re-enter the workforce? But also, this could indicate that you are reconsidering who you do business with, because Mercury rules over your 7th house, which is connected to these one-to-one relationships. So you may be worried, or not worried, maybe just thinking about your reputation. Like, do I want to be, in bed with this person? Business or like actually? So you may want to break off a relationship. You may think about how this is, reflecting on you socially, publicly, or even professionally. And on a different level, some of you could return to a former employer or to a former job. Some of you could start working for yourself again, especially if you push the pause button on your business. And some of you may actually get back with a former partner. So that is another way that could play out. And let's also have a look at the eclipses that we're going to have at the end of the year. So we will have a new moon eclipse at 21 degrees in Libra in your 11th house on the 14th of October. So this can indicate, and by the way, I'm going to touch on some of the things I said with the South Node in Libra because it's the same energy. Nevertheless, a new moon eclipse will bring something new to the house that it transits, but it's to do with something that you're already aware of because it's with the South Node. So this could be the revival of a former long-term project or a large-scale project, or let's say like a conference that you were putting together, or maybe you were trying to launch an event. Maybe you've had to push it back on a different level. Maybe you just had plans of a project that you wanted to launch or be involved in, and now you'll actually have that opportunity. This could be the revival of a long-term goal or dream that you had for your future. You could be reconnecting to a community, or there could be a community or a group that you were thinking of joining that you hadn't done yet, and now you're, basically taking that leap of faith. On a different level, this can see you forming new friends and new acquaintances, and maybe these are people that you were aware of, or who were sort of like, you were aware of them socially, but it was always just like a hey, or I know that person's face, and now you're actually becoming friends with them. So that is on the 14th of October. And also there may be a new long-term investment that you're investing in, and this could be something which offers you a residual or passive income, I should say. And maybe this is something that you have basically been considering for a while, and now again you're taking the plunge. Or perhaps this is you having to give up one investment or a dream or goal that you had in order to invest in something else for your future that you've got big dreams about. Now, on the 28th of October, there will be a full moon eclipse in Taurus at 5 degrees in your 6th house. So full moon eclipses are about ending a chapter or a cycle coming to a close, but because the North Node was in Taurus, this will still deliver something new to you. So it could be the end of a chapter for you with work, leaving a job, department, an industry. You could be retiring or resigning, and you could be closing out a workout regime. Maybe you've achieved your goal there, or a health goal. You could kick an addiction or a habit, and again, you could have a breakthrough with your health. So lastly, you could be paying off a loan. Now, this could be delivering something new to you. So you could walk away from a job to embrace a new job or to embrace self-employment. You could be retiring to, basically open up opportunities for you in different ways. And on a different level, you could have to overcome a certain bad habit or an addiction, which is going to make way for a healthier way of living. And lastly, for the whole year, we will have Mercury retrograde in Capricorn from the 13th of December. So this will be Mercury retrograde in your second house, which is the same way that we started the year. So there could be some changes that are coming through with your finances or with things that you value. And then on the 23rd of December, Mercury will retrograde back into Sagittarius in your first house. And it will be there until the 1st of January 2024. So as you close out the year, you'll be reevaluating where you've come from, what you're doing, what you've achieved, and what's next for you. And so Sagittarius, on that note, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed this horoscope. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Enjoy your year ahead, Sagittarius, and I'll see you guys in my next video.